feeling so lucky to have Dr. Kristen Francis. Hi, Dr. Francis.
Hey, Rebecca, thanks for having me.
Here we are. It's kind of still the extension of winter. Spring is coming
Mhm.
up. And I know there's so much support and information that we can gain at Huntsman Mental Health Institute, where you are a child and inpatient psychiatrist. But I wanted to talk with you just briefly today about a really complicated thing that we all need to understand more. And that
Mhm.
is self-injury behavior. I'm understanding that self-injury behavior is pretty common with college students and adolescents.
Yes, it's definitely something that we see quite a bit as inpatient child and adolescent psychiatrists. So, kids, adolescents that come into the hospital who are really experiencing suicidal thoughts, we see quite a high percentage of them engage in what we call non-suicidal self-injury, which is cutting, is the other name. But out in the community, it's also common, and oftentimes those youth are not even on someone's radar that it might be going on.
All right. And do we understand why an adolescent or a
Yeah,
college student would choose to, or anyone would choose
sure.
to do that on purpose? Mhm.
Yeah. So definitely more common in adolescents and college students, not seeing it very much in adults, unless really honestly they have a comorbid condition, usually an eating disorder. But in our youth, we know that it is actually a biologically effective mood regulation.
Mm.
um, you know, it's basically a coping skill gone bad. So it's something that works in the moment by releasing endorphins and soothing kind of pain, emotional pain. But there's a physical pain relief that you get. But it over time obviously has really negative consequences. It's not good for you. You can cut really deeply. It's not something we would ever recommend or want someone to do, but that is why people do it. It's mostly for emotional pain relief.
Okay, so walk us through that. Let's say that
Yeah.
we go into our child's bedroom and they're putting their pajamas on, and we notice a cut on
Yeah.
the leg, or we see something on their arm,
Yes.
or maybe they'll share it with us. Either way, what do we
Yeah.
do with that information?
Yes. So I always recommend just be very open and direct with your kids, just like you would about anything else. You want to say, "Oh my gosh, I love you. Hey, I noticed that you have a scratch or something on your arm. I'd like to see it." You don't really give them an opportunity to say no. So I don't want you to be like, "Can I see it?" You
Okay.
just need to say, "Let me see it," or "I need to see that. I want to check that." Most of the spots will be on arms, thighs, kind of areas that can be covered. Sometimes their stomach, but those are the most common areas. And you look and you see that it might be a sign consistent with cutting or scratching. And then I want you to express concern. Oh, wow, that looks like it may be something that you may have done to hurt yourself. I'm really concerned. I want to talk more about it. So just starting off non judgmental, empathetic.
All right. And once we do that, we'll
Mhm.
practice it ahead of
Yeah.
time because it's
Yeah.
so emotional to know
Yeah.
that a child
Really.
is hurting that much.
Yeah.
Then where do we go for help? And is this something that they can be, taught through therapy, a healthier way to manage those big emotions that might be bringing that on?
Totally.
Mhm.
Yes. There's an evidence-based therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy. We call it DBT for short. You can
Okay.
Google it. And it is all about how to handle strong, big feelings in a safe way and how to help yourself calm down in the moment. And they give you like actual physical things to do instead of cutting. And that is a therapy we use a lot with young people who have big feelings and maybe don't have all the knowledge or kind of judgment yet at how to handle things differently. So there's therapy out there. And the first thing you want to do is get them into their pediatrician so their pediatrician can look and see how extensive the self-harm is. And then definitely have a consultation with a specialist at HMHI if needed. We have a 24-hour crisis center if you feel like the self-injury is severe and they need further assessment. Or you can go an outpatient route, set up a therapy session. But those are all ways to get your child help.
Well, and before I let you go, Dr.
Yeah.
Francis, in the past, you've shared with us how important it is for family members and parents in particular to be trained or to learn how to better help in these situations. So, do you find that self-injury behavior or cutting, whatever term
Yeah.
we're more comfortable using, is that something that can involve family therapy too, or should involve family therapy?
Well, Absolutely. Especially just in even how to like, coach you to talk with your child, because it's a difficult topic, and it's not something you want your child to do, and your child might want to do it because they're hurting. And so you need to really be able to navigate that. So family therapy is a great essential component. Most DBT therapy incorporates a family component, but just in general, your child's individual therapist would likely also recommend family therapy.
Wonderful. And of course, Dr. Francis is with Huntsman Mental Health Institute. That's where we can find her and other great services. It's nice to know that there is a center that we can call night and day and get that help for our kids and for our
Yes.
families as well. Dr. Francis, thank you so much for checking in with us today.
Thank you.